So my name is Abe Kleinfeld, and I'm the CEO of GridGain. And GridGain is a commercial company behind Apache Ignite, which is an open source platform for in-memory computing. And what we do is we add value to this open source platform for mission critical applications in large companies. Well, the main point that we covered is that when you're dealing with IoT, Internet of Things, you're usually dealing with a lot of things and a lot of data. And the goal is to collect all of this data in some place and make decisions based on that data. It turns out that when you have a lot of data and a lot of things, you need speed and scale. And that's what in-memory computing does. And so we are the producers of the most popular open source in-memory computing platform. And in order to process all of that data coming in from all of those things, you really need in-memory computing. That's the only way to process information fast enough to be able to make real-time decisions on that information. Well, most companies today that are doing Internet of Things are building a lot of the technology on traditional computing platforms. These computing platforms are often, 20, 30, 50 years old, a lot of these technologies. The modern way to build highly scalable, modern applications is through a distributed in-memory computing platform that allows you to have tremendous scale, so you can capture massive numbers of things and a massive amount of information and be able to process it very quickly, between 5,000 and 1,000,000 times faster than you can on disk. So speed and scale is the critical component to success of Internet of Things, and that's precisely what in-memory computing platforms deliver. We are generally kind of hidden under the covers of the platforms that Internet of Things technologies use. We provide the speed and the scale to be able to process the information coming in. But of course, Internet of Things is really tied inexorably with digital transformation. Everybody is digitizing the real world and creating a digital twin of it. And they want to be able to make instant decisions based on all of the things that are happening in the real world. And that's where in-memory computing comes in, because what's happening in the real world is actually a large number of things, and in order to be able to react quickly to those and take business and gain business opportunity from it, you need to process that information in real time. I'll give you an example. An example would be, you're a retailer and it's raining in Kansas City, and all of a sudden you realize that your umbrellas are flying out the door. Well, what you want to be able to do is you want to be able to raise prices of those umbrellas, and you want to ship more umbrellas to that store. In traditional disk-based computing and traditional architectures, you wouldn't find out that it was raining in Kansas City until next week. And by that time, it's too late. So you want to be able to process this information in real time and make decisions on it in real time to gain business advantage in real time. One example is, and they're here at the show, but I'm not allowed to use their name, but I'll tell you about them. They basically make smart meters. So the smart meters are the meters that you have in your home that measures the electricity use or gas usage, for example. And these are smart meters because they can provide information back to the utilities, the electric utilities and the grid very, very quickly. The problem is there's 50 million of them. And so when you have 50 million of these smart meters producing information, the grid needs to be able to keep up with that information and adapt to the changing needs. So if it's suddenly hot in part of the country, or it's raining in another part of the country, or it's freezing somewhere else, the grid needs to be able to adapt in real time. And the only way to do that with that amount of information on that level of scale is through in-memory computing. And GridGain is used as the platform of choice for that company. The Internet of Things is actually more than amazing. It's like science fiction. Almost everything you read about in science fiction about 50 or 60 years ago is now becoming real because of the Internet of Things. The whole concept of digitizing the real world and being able to make decisions based on what's happening in real time is incredible. And the Internet of Things is really what enables that. We have sensors everywhere. We have sensors in our bodies, we have sensors in our clothes, we have sensors in our product, we have sensors in our supply chain, we have sensors in our jet engines. There are sensors everywhere collecting information, and being able to make real-time decisions based on what's happening in the real world is the nirvana of business. So Internet of Things is a critical component to the success of the future, and I think it's a place to watch. This is the segment to watch when it comes to computing.